when we moved out of our Montclair house, we had a 3-floor house, and I videotaped how empty it was and how large it was now that everything was out. But playing it back, I realized, oh my God, I can't watch this.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't occur to me when Blair Witch came out that it was going to be the same thing. And a week later, I went to see something else at the same theater, and there were signs saying, please be aware if you're seeing Blair Witch, you might have experienced motion sickness. I'm like, yeah, a little late for that, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
you learn the hard way. Well, my grandmother was like that, although she got motion sickness. Like we used to go back to family in Denver and Missouri, and we would either take the bus or the train. Now, she was kind of okay on the train, but boy, 3 days and 2 nights on the bus, all I could hear was poor grandma horking. And then I remember as a kid, she would take me to the playground, and I'd get on the swings, and she couldn't watch me on the swings.
Okay, that's yeah. I'm only virtual. If I'm out and about, I'm fine. I can planes, trains, automobile, like just fall asleep if I'm not the pilot or driving. But yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. Because I'd be there and, Grandma, look at me. And she was looking the other way. She couldn't look, yeah.
There's the nearest rubbish bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, do you celebrate Valpurgis at all?
Well, I did on the air this week. No, I kind of don't, but I really love the fact, that all the witches are supposed to fly to this particular mountain in Germany and gather for the thing. But the interesting thing was, I was reading in my guest's book that one of the things that happens on Walpurgis Night is people put beans in their mouth in case they see an ill-tempered witch. It keeps ill-tempered witches away.
Huh.
Just walking around with a bean in your mouth. And, my question to her was, well, how do they know they're ill-tempered? I mean, some of us look really sweet and wouldn't harm a flea. Yeah, right. But, yeah, walking around with beans in your mouth to keep away from mean witches.
So,
that was
well, a lot of people don't realize that the climactic composition and Night on Bald Mountain in Disney's Fantasia is essentially a Valpurgis night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I'm sure anybody with Facebook has seen that dance that the witches do. When they're up there, they're all these people are dressed up like crones, with the big noses and the masks and everything, and they're doing like dancing. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of nice dancing. It's cute dancing. It's not silly dancing. It's very serious dancing. But it's funny because people will look at that and go, "Oh, look, the witches are making fun of themselves." No, that's not what they're doing.
Oh no.
But
matter of fact, Marla, there is another YouTube video in which those ladies show you how to do that dance.
Oh, that's nice. You have to kind of, it's kind of like a bump and grind, isn't it? In some ways. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for that.
They had fun doing it, I guess. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing it as a ritual, but people, lay people, muggles, for lack of a better word.
Oh, now I'm a muggle.
Well, look, better a muggle than a mudblood, okay?
Exactly.
But,
plus, who knows the word Cowan nowadays anyway?
Well, that too. Yeah. So no, it's a traditional thing, and people think that they were doing it just to, make fun of ourselves, but they don't understand that that's kind of a ritual dance. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking before on your show that which is Stirring the Cauldron, which is Thursday nights here on Parax Radio, by the way.
Thank you.
That the smoke purification, they actually led animals through that as well.
Cows.
So, cows, yeah. So, I mean, obviously cows are, well, I would associate them with Hathor, which is goddess of fertility too. And I'm wondering, is that where part of it came from?
I would think so. Go ahead, finish your sentence, sorry.
To be able to purify and make sure that the cattle were okay, and it was almost blessed in a way, correct?
Yeah, it was for purification of the cattle. And, they were thought very highly of. I didn't It was funny because somebody in the chat room, because as she was talking, she said that they walk them through the fires, and for some reason I didn't get this because I was reading in the chat room, but they kind of singe the hair a little bit. Not burn them, but just kind of singe the hair. And I'm not sure if maybe that's like bringing their own smoke out or something. But somebody in the chat room says, "Oh, I don't want to hear anymore." And I said, I sent him a private message. I said they weren't sacrificing cows. We don't do that. This was a purification ritual. And he's like, "Well, whatever you say." Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not lying. We're not after sacrificing cows. But there was something about she said about them just singeing the skin or the fur or the hair, whatever you want to call it, on the cow. Just as they're walking through, they're not stopping there and, whatever. I mean, branding an animal is much worse than getting a little fringe.
Very true. And as we both know, Highland cattle tend to be quite furry little beasts.
Yes.
So it would be very easy to singe their fur.
Yes, and it was so cute. Somebody put pictures, cat maybe.
That was me.
That was you. Okay. One of the two of you, but they were cute little.
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to kiss one on the nose. They're really cute cows.
Are they the ones that are kind of orange?
Yeah, very furry, long fur.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted one.
They got the little mini ones too.
Yeah, little babies.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are the Highland cows.
Yeah.
They're very small. Like the Shetland ponies are very, very tiny little cows.
Right.
Yeah, very sweetie things.
So very easy to singe their fur.
Yes, and for good reason. So, and in fact, I think I wrote in the chat room, I don't know, correct me if you saw it, I said, no cattle were harmed or something like that during the process. But nobody probably even got that as a joke.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just a reminder, if you have any questions for Marla, you can private chat them to either Ceiling Cat, H. Foister, or Marla, and we will get those answered for you. And I'm sure we still have Jeff, right? Maybe.
Maybe not.
Yeah. He's on and off.
He'll be back in a second.
Yeah, he's on and off. He'll be back in a little bit here.
Yeah. Now, about those May baskets, any idea where that came from?
No, I don't. But do you? I thought maybe you do, because you're good. You do a little homework sometimes too.
No idea, and it's very difficult to find anything
on
what a May basket was.
And
it's
something
usually
here.
like jelly beans and stuff like that. And I always thought, okay, maybe it's a throwback from an Easter thing. But
one thing, and you were talking about the element of water, and this thing just popped up about May waters.
Oh.
And it says rolling in May Eve dew or washing face in pre-dawn May dew for health, luck, or beauty. Getting hair wet in the Beltane rain is to bless the head. Blessing springs, ponds, and other sacred waters with flowers, garlands, ribbons, and offerings. Also collecting sacred waters and scrying in sacred springs, wells, ponds, and others. And it says that May baskets were given or placed secretly on doorsteps to friends, shut-ins, lovers, and others. So I guess it's things that maybe people need, flowers or whatever. Because, you would do something like that for shut-ins that couldn't get out to see the sweet flowers. And then there's also a thing about a May bowl, which was punch. Was filled with punch wine made of sweet woodruff blossoms.
That's kind of like having a Christmas basket of fruit.
I would say, yeah. Just something for the season that maybe people couldn't get to, or you just wanted to give them some Sabbath cheer, by dropping off a beautiful basket of greens and flowers and stuff on their doorstep. Yeah. And you could also put some May punch in there too. Mm.
Now I got a question from someone here in the chat. They wanted to know when was the last time that you were at Hollywood Forever, and I know she said hasn't been for a while, sounds like.
Right. It hasn't been, yeah.
But when you did, did you hear anything?
I have at times. I mean, I used to go there a lot. It was about a mile from where I lived. And most of my family is buried there. And I always thought it was a really comfortable place to just go and hang out, except for the geese. But we keep talking about the geese, but you guys need to know that they're something else. I mean, I didn't know geese had personalities. But at one point, and I think I told this to Jeff, one point I was there and there were three of them sitting at the edge of this pond. And they were talking to each other like three guys sitting there shooting the breeze. And they were, and then if you walked by them, they all turned and stared at you and gave you the stink eye. And they chase people. So, they're geese. But yeah, I mean, so I used to hang out there a lot my whole life. I mean, I would go over there because to me that was like a really comfortable park to go sit in and whatever. It didn't scare me as a cemetery, but there were a couple of times that in the mausoleums, the one time, I don't usually run. I really don't. I'm really brave on investigations, but I was in the mausoleum and nobody was there. And these mausoleums are really quite nice and big and sometimes scary. But there was a old Hollywood director called William Desmond Taylor. That's not his real name. That was his professional name. I think he was Dean Tanner or something. And he was accused of murdering a starlet way back in the day, but they never could prove it. And he was really kind of a mean guy. And I went over there because I guess I was writing, one of the Ghosts of Hollywood books. And I said, okay, I'm going to go over to his crypt. I'm going to take a picture of his plaque for the book. And, those mausoleums are so empty, but they're so cold because they're marble, And I went over and I found it, and I was just kind of standing there, and this was a little before digital cameras that I had. So I'm flickering with my camera, and I'm trying to get the right picture and everything. And all of a sudden, I got this, how your adrenaline kicks in and you get this flee or flight kind of thing. And I mean, I was just standing there, but I got the willies so bad that I literally ran out of the mausoleum and ran into the friend that was with me and crashed into him on the way out, which was, the comic relief at the end of the thing. But it was just, I was standing there and I was thinking about him and, kind of focusing the camera and thinking about the murder and the fact that he got off and all this stuff. And it was like somebody poured something over my head, there's this really feeling of negativity. And I really took off running. And I think that's the only time I've ever run. And I've been touched and all kinds of things and never blinked. But there was just something, it was like all these bad vibes were coming out of that tomb. So, yeah. That's one of the things. But usually, generally over there, I don't feel anything negative. It's always kind of really nice and peaceful and calm, and that was just like a one-off thing. That was really weird. But at that time the place was a little rougher than it is now too. I mean, they've really fixed it up. But there was an actress named Jeanette MacDonald, a singer actress years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I was walking around, and I have a bad habit of not looking down when I'm walking for some reason. I mean, Ginny and Steve have a German Shepherd, and I trip over this German Shepherd sometimes, and he's huge. But so it's my fault. But I was walking, and I tripped over Jeanette MacDonald's stone. She didn't have the stone, an upright stone. She had a flat stone to the ground. And the ground was a little bit uneven. And I tripped over it, and I turned around and said, I'm so sorry. I mean, you just have to do that, like as if she cared, or if she heard me. But
was she buried near Nelson Eddy? Do you know where he's buried?
I don't know if he's there or not. He might be. It escapes me if he is or not. And I would think that if they were together down there close, I probably would have known it and remembered it. But I mean, there's so many wonderful people there that are kind of amazing that end up at Hollywood forever. You know, people you don't think will. I mean, like Don Adams for Get Smart, he's there. Wow. I was surprised to see his stone there. Mickey Rooney is now there. Judy Garland is now there.